Hello, and for all of you watching on PBS and around the globe, a very warm welcome. The German Defence Minister Boris Pistorious has denied that his country is isolated within Nato as it continues to resist sending battle tanks to Ukraine. He was speaking during a press conference with the NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg in Berlin. Mr. Pistorious said he expected a decision on the delivery of Leopard 2 tanks soon. He said NATO members were coordinating the deployment of the tanks and should begin the training of Ukrainian soldiers in their use. Mr. Stoltenberg said it was a pivotal moment for Ukraine.
Consultations among allies will continue, and I'm confident that we will have a solution soon. Germany plays a key role in our alliance. The Zeitenwende announced by Chancellor Scholz is historic. With a special €100 billion defence fund for fifth-generation aircraft, new helicopters, ships, tanks and ammunition.
Jens Stoltenberg also said that discussions about the Leopard tanks is a natural part of forming policy. We'll be live in Berlin with our correspondent shortly for the latest. Now, though, in Ukraine, President Zelensky has said he will be making changes to the government and security services as part of a renewed crackdown on corruption. The deputy head of the presidential office, Kyrylo Tymoshenko, and deputy defence minister have already announced they are leaving their posts. The deputy prosecutor general has also been removed from his post in the shake-up. Let's get the latest on this and talk to our Ukraine correspondent James Waterhouse, who's in Kyiv for us. James, welcome to you. So what's going on with these top-level politicians then?
Well, Ukraine has long grappled with corruption, being it through government procurement or spending over the years. There have been some reforms, yes, but it is clear that President Zelensky is trying to address more recent concerning claims of corruption at the heart of his government. They include reports that the country's defence ministry used a relatively unknown firm to source food supplies for the military, eggs to be specific, and the Defence Ministry has since described this as a technical error, claiming that no money had parted hands. Separate to that, another official has been held over the weekend on suspicion of accepting a bribe of almost $400,000 around the supply of electric generators. So we are seeing more and more officials removed from post. The Deputy Prosecutor General, which you mentioned, went on holiday over the new year to Spain with his family, which is why President Zelensky has also brought in a travel ban for ministers should they want to try and go abroad for unofficial business or for pleasure. So we are seeing, this isn't a cabinet reshuffle like others. This seems to be President Zelensky trying to directly and quickly address these claims, because when you have claims of corruption in peacetime, that is damaging enough for any administration. But when you are reliant on billions of dollars of military aid and financial support from Western allies, and continue to be so, then these kind of reports are incredibly damaging and could undermine Ukraine's pleas for that help to continue.
And what impact do we think that this reshuffle or getting rid of some senior politicians, replacing them with others, it could have on the war effort?
Well, what Kyiv is hoping is that it will reassure the public, because there is a chance that when you hear about corruption once again at the top of Ukraine's government, that could potentially undermine morale. It could affect community spirit in places where they, people are living at the heart of the fighting, and this will sort of trigger a lot of people. There's a bit of a muscle memory here on issues, certainly in the east of Ukraine, where government spending hasn't been what it should be, where there have been stories of government officials skimming off the top when public money has simply gone missing. So the timing of this couldn't be worse for Kyiv, especially given the continued debate around the issue of Leopard 2 tanks, which could well be gradually making their way to Ukraine, and Kyiv is going to want to present itself as squeaky clean, as a country desperately in need of this kind of military help.
Yeah, and talking about those Leopard 2 tanks, we've just been reflecting on this press conference in Berlin with Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of Nato, and the German Defence Minister. No decision being made yet. Jens Stoltenberg saying that this is all a natural part of any negotiation and any new policy. But for Ukraine, it is crucial. They want those tanks ASAP, don't they?
They really do, and they see these tanks as the way to unlock the front line in the east. I mean, President Zelensky's gone as far as giving a specific number. He thinks he needs 300 to beat Russian forces in the east. He says his troops are facing up to 1,000 tanks. So while pledges by the likes of the UK with 14 Challenger 2 tanks, as well as Poland, which looks likely to give 14 Leopard 2 tanks, those are welcomed. But they scratch the surface in the eyes of Kyiv in the continued fighting in the east. I wonder if Kyiv is quietly confident that other countries will follow suit, given that Germany's Foreign Minister, Anna Baerbock, has said they won't stand in other countries' way if they want to supply Leopard 2 tanks, because regulations dictate that they have to give permission. Germany has to give permission as the manufacturer. And Dmytro Kuleba, Ukraine's Foreign Minister, has called it not if, but when. So I think there might be that quiet confidence, and I think the hope will be is that these tanks arrive in time for any kind of spring offensive that the Ukrainians might want to stage, because there are worries that Russia will be looking to mount advances of its own at that same time of year.
OK, James in Kyiv, thank you.